Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the host may not state or reflect those of Peers and its members. Furthermore, the views and opinions made by the resource persons do not reflect those of the program, Peers, and its members.
All of us from Peers welcome you to this online seminar. As we made it a commitment, we are here to be an exponent of responsible citizenship, empowering everyone, and in our little way, finding the right direction to reach the future we deserve. Hopefully, those who are really qualified gets to have a really good chance at public service, and that we choose the right leaders to be in government. Before we start, may we request everyone to make sure your microphones are on mute all the time until you are recognized to speak and ask a question. Kindly keep your questions short and direct to the point so that we are able to maximize the limited time. Our speakers themselves are asked to keep their discussions short so that we can move and we can have more time for the open forum later. Now, let us begin. It is our pleasure to introduce our speakers. Prof. Edmund Tayao is a professorial lecturer at the San Beda Graduate School of Law. He is a well-recognized political analyst and strategist here and around the world. Let us hear him talk about payo sa mga tumatakbo, a methodical approach to an effective campaign. Prof. Ed, you may now start your talk.
Mayong aga. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be with you here this morning. I will just share a few snippets of what to prepare and how to prepare in elections. I'm sure, of course, that many of you, our dear participants, have already done your homework and prepared, no, for the coming elections. No? This is, I suppose, more of a reminder. So this is going to be a quick one. No, of course, before you venture into anything, you have to know the lay of the land. And this is the reason why we do surveys. No, before we do anything, before we set up the campaign, before we formulate our platforms, and so on and so forth. No. Surveys are not just numbers. No, it's not intended to influence the voters. There have been quite a number who have approached us at Peers asking us to, if possible, conduct a survey, and the results supposedly is to favor them, and that they can publicize the survey so that it can influence voters. No, it doesn't work that way. In fact, surveys are done more to learn where you are weak, why you are weak, and learn where you're strong and why you're strong, and also understand, no, what you can do so that you can improve on your numbers, improve on your support. You should know the real from the fraud. I've seen so many supposed survey firms now available, no, in the market, in the public. The first thing you have to ask when someone offers services to do surveys, the first thing that you have to ask is the methodology. Are they actually going to conduct a face-to-face survey? If the answer to you is not, that they will be doing, some analytics, some algorithm in the social media, or using phone surveys, it doesn't work that way. We still don't have that infrastructure available in the Philippines. The only time that this was introduced, in fact, as far as the United States is concerned, if I'm not mistaken, was not even in the late 70s when the Gallup International started their real-time surveys. In the case of the Philippines, there are so many considerations before we can get to that. The long and short of it is that no survey is a real survey unless it is done with the fieldwork. A survey is a snapshot. Never think it actually is going to be the result. When we say it's a snapshot, that means it will only provide you the situation at that very moment that that survey was done. Precisely why you are asked, if the voting will be done today, who will you be voting for? That means, in fact, at any given time, the moment that question is asked and the moment you answered that question, the result can change immediately. Halimbawa po, tinanong kayo, iboboto niyo po ba si Pedro? Aba, sinabi mo na, opo, iboboto ko si Pedro dahil siya ay magaling and so on and so forth. Pagkatapos ng interview, biglang may narinig ka sa radyo na si Pedro pala ay involved sa mga kung ano-ano pang hindi masyadong legal na mga activities. Magbabago na kagad yung inyong pananaw, no, tungkol kay Pedro. Kaya ito po ay maaaring magbago kagad, kaya palagi mong dapat tinitingnan yung resulta ng survey. In fact, if you're running for office, you have to have a periodic assessment of what you're doing. You formulate your strategy based on what the survey says, no? So that's why a survey is not conducted only once. It has to be conducted in the whole course of the campaign, as much as possible, at the very least every month, no? You do your survey so that you can monitor the extent of your campaign, no, and the effectiveness of your campaign. Never just rely on promises of support. Palagi sa politika, iikot ka, kakamayan mo yung barangay chairman, o kung ikaw ay tumatakbo para gobernador o senador o mas mataas na pwesto, kung lalapitan mo yung mga local officials at sasabihin sa'yo, you have my support, Mayor, you have my support, Governor. But you have to do your own work. You have to go around yourself and you have to monitor it yourself. Of course, you have your team, you have your campaign manager, but you have to be on top of all those as a candidate, no? Of course, you're not the one who's supposed to run the campaign, but at the very least, you should be able to monitor and you should also do your own bit of the campaign, no? So, alam nyo, napakarami na pong problema, napakarami ng bago ngayon at may mga tinatawag na keyboard warriors. Do not rely on social media. Sa highly urbanized cities lang po maaaring masabing magiging effective ang inyong social media campaign. Sa probinsya po, radyo pa din po ang dapat ninyong magamit. Yun pa din po ang ginagamit ng karamihan. Yung pong keyboard warriors, kaya po ang tawag sa kanila trolls, magaling lang po sila for gaslighting. Yung kumbaga, nang bubuyo lang, na pinapagalit ka lang. Ang mas maganda na meron kang capacity to engage. Was this your constituents engage the public more in terms of responding to the issues and concerns raised against you, and even supplement issues that are raised whether for or against you. Wala po tayong tunay na political party. Madalas po yung political party kailangan lang natin para sa kona. Pero at best po, ang pwede lang nilang i-provide sa inyo ay in addition to what you are already doing. In fact, political parties need you more than you need them, precisely because we don't have a setup that really caters to or uses political parties more. And last but not the least, voters think more than you thought they do. When you engage them, you tell them truthfully your idea of real solutions. Medyo gamit na po yung mga ayuda, yung mga pamigay. Baka po pwede ninyong baguhin ng konti at makikita ninyo yung magiging resulta. No? Be real and organized. Be real, do and act in public what is natural to you. Kung hindi ho kayo nagbubuhat ng kaban ng bigas dati, hindi kayo nakikitang umiikot, huwag nyo nang gagawin yun. Kung ano lang po yung natural na ginagawa nyo, just do it naturally. Pero huwag po kayong pupunta ng simbahan at may dala kayong camera. Mas maganda, frequency ang pinag-uusapan dito. Kung talagang araw-araw po kayo nagsisimba, hindi nyo kailangan ng camera. Kasi nakikita naman ng tao at alam nila, oh, kandidato pala si Mario. No? So pag nakikita po kayo sa palengke, nakikipagkamay, binabati yung mga kaibigan ninyo, alam po nila yan. I-organize po ninyo ang mga community leaders ninyo. Huwag po kayong mag-rely lamang sa coordinators. Kasi mas magandang meron kayong fail-safe so that you can ask another person what exactly is happening. Take note that many of the people who will talk to you will only tell you the good things that you want to hear. Mas maganda yung pakikinggan ninyo lahat ng sinasabi kasi bihira yung magsasabi sa inyo na kung mayor, councilor, medyo kailangan po nating pag-igihin pa dito kasi medyo kulang tayo dito. Voters know if you are just buying them and you are actually not sincere. So again, it has to be adjusted in a way that you are actually engaging them. In summary, stick to your strength with what you do best. Do not reinvent yourself in some way that it will appear to be trying hard. Napakarami na po nating nakitang ganon. Let me end by telling you this. Moving forward, understand the current lay of the ground, as I've said, organize, prioritize, optimize, and ultimately institutionalize. In other words, if you haven't started your campaign, when you start your campaign, make it a point that it will run smoothly, even without you actually being there physically, but with you being able to monitor them regardless where you are and what you are doing. Last but not the least, campaign to advocate. You speak the truth, you speak real solutions. And then that's the only time you will dominate, and you might be surprised that the people actually are expecting something more other than ayuda, other than pangbobola. Yun lang po. Magandang umaga and I look forward to your questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Ed. Indeed, with the right strategy, an effective campaign is not just achievable, it's inevitable. Our next speaker is Peer Aaron Benedict de Leon. Aaron is a businessman, but has always led the millennials in many electoral campaigns. He led the youth group of major national campaigns before and recently the millennials, and needless to say, social media has been their natural tool. Here to talk to us about DigiCamp, pangangampanya gamit ang social media. Peer Aaron, you may now take the floor.
Thank you so much, Doc Chin. And again, thank you to our participants for this morning's special voter education series. So I'm here basically to talk about digital campaigning or ang tinatawag nila sa Filipino na pangangampanya gamit ang social media. Just before anything else, let me just share my personal social media experience. I myself was a social media creation in politics in 2009. So nagsimula ako, actually nagsusulat lang ako ng blog, no? Those were basically mga articles in support of a certain presidential candidate, no? So papausbong pa lang ang social media noon. And it was also the time in which unang nagamit ang social media, ang Facebook bilang isang channel para magkaroon ng communication or for political groups or political organizations to spread their message. And in our case, during that time, we actually used social media to create our own political organization when we were supporting back then the presidential candidacy of Secretary Teodoro. Now, since that time, since 2010, social media campaigning has been part and parcel of the operations that we do. No, I've been part of 5 elections after 2010. So we have recognized the importance of social media in terms of campaigning here in the Philippines. No? So how important is social media in terms of the numbers? No? So let's just look basically at numbers and where potentially or probably most of the campaign organizations, civic organizations are basing their strategies on or they're planning on, no? Kasi tayo naman pagka let's say for example, ikaw ay kandidato, ikaw ay taga-suporta, ang una mo nang tinitingnan as Prof. Ed mentioned earlier is the survey. Do you have the numbers? Do you have the awareness, no? And that awareness, no, maraming channels for you to find out if people already recognize your efforts in society. So one of which is survey. Now, another thing they use is basically yung tinatawag nating social media metrics. Why do they use social media as a metrics, let's say for awareness or for measuring the winnability of a certain group or a certain party list, for example? So in Philippines, basically based on recent data, we have around 87 million social media users, no? And ang ating voting population more or less it's 60 or 70% of 114 million. So if you look at that data alone, 87 million, so mataas ang penetrability ng social media dito sa Philippines compared to other countries, no? And critical of which, no, yung punta tayo dun sa second data, 57% use social media as learning sources, no? So, kung makikita natin dito sa pag-aaral na ito, more than 5 out of 10 Filipinos use social media as their repository of information. So, kung meron silang gustong malaman ng mga balita tungkol sa politika, ano ba yung mga developments, ano ba yung mga trends. So, mainly ginagamit na ang social media as one of the channels for us to be able to acquire or to retrieve information. Punta naman ako dito sa isa pang critical statistic, no? 50% of Filipino internet users watch vloggers or influencers each week. So let me just give you a very small tidbit of how important this was in the last 2022 presidential campaign. So, one social media user, no, na mayroong mataas na following, si celebrity Tony Gonzaga, in 2021, she interviewed former candidate and now President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, no? And that interview, no, garnered a very quickly, no, earned millions of views. So it was said, no, in some studies or in some what they call this, in some discussions, it was a critical juncture of the Bongbong Marcos campaign. So doon nagkaroon ng traction yung kampanya ni President Marcos. So na-reverse yung mga previous connotations about him, no? So ganoon nakikitang kahalaga yung paggamit ng social media and those influencers or vloggers in terms of propagating the message, in terms of coming out with your initial campaign message. So naging critical daw yon sa pagkapanalo ni President Marcos. And another key statistic, no, sa 24 hours na meron tayo sa isang araw, sabihin mo ng 6 na oras kang natutulog o 7 oras ka natutulog, ang average use of Filipino social media use ng mga users ay nasa 3 hours and 34 minutes. So imagine, 3 hours and 34 minutes, babad yung mga tao, mostly, hindi lang naman yan tungkol sa mga personal development sa kanilang network, makikita din nila sa mga tinatawag nilang news feeds, yung mga political news. Lalong-lalo na ano yung mga development sa ganitong kaso, sa ganitong mga hearings, no? So, ganoon nakapopular ang social media dito sa ating sa ating political environment and much so in elections, no? So makikita natin social media in terms of the broader spectrum actually has effectively increased the competition. So bakit? Kasi dati meron lang tayong tinatawag na traditional media, yan yung broadcast, print, and then yun yung basically yun yung mga main sources of information. Ngayon, since 2010, nagkaroon ng social media and kung makikita nyo yung trend ng paggamit ng social media, yung mga strategies sa paggamit ng social media, mas naging diverse. Hindi lang pagbubuo ng organizations, but how news are spread, how campaigns are started and are completed using social media. And in fact, in this election alone, napakaraming mga vloggers or influencers ang tumalon na from just being campaigners into becoming real candidates themselves. So in terms of metrics, alamin natin kung ano yung mga naging basihan nila. Perhaps they look at these numbers or perhaps they were looking at other analytics in terms of their social media channels to arrive at a decision that they would be able to generate the enough numbers to be elected. Pangalawa, and this is very true, social media makes candidates more relatable. Paano ngayon nagiging tawag dito mas personable or mas relatable ang ating mga kandidato? Ginagamit nila ngayon yung social media. Classic case in point. Some local candidates have started to create their own content via their pages. So yung iba dyan, yung mga local candidates, minsan nagva-vlog sila kung ano yung mga ginagawa nila, kumakain sila ng masarap na breakfast, nakikipag-meeting sila sa mga iba't ibang grupo, launch sila ng mga socio-civic drives to make it appear that they are doing something outside of election season. So ginagamit nila ngayon ito na parang ng pagpapakilala or to introduce themselves to the social media market. And last but not the least, social media allows the campaigns to micro-target. So mamaya pupuntahan ni Sir Tony at saka ni Sir Raul yung mga issues, both national and local issues that are important to the electorate. Ngayon, base dito sa pag-aaral nila sa social media, nata-target nila. Let's say for example, ano ba ang main issues ngayon pagdating sa mga kabataan? For example, let's say employment. So based on that initial analysis of the market, bubuo ngayon ng campaign strategy ang mga organizations na naka-anchor based sa let's say a platform on employment or a platform on education. Ano ba yung mga maaaring maging platforms nila pagdating sa education and employment? Nagiging paraan din ng social media to gather information. Let's say for example, may mga lobby groups sa social media na nag-a-advocate ng let's say across the board increases, for example, sa wages. So nakikita yan ng mga different social media groups, and that becomes a way for them to craft their media strategy overall and now how they're gonna run their social media messaging using that issue. So mamaya pakinggan natin si Sir Tony at si Sir Raul. Mamaya they have very interesting insight on local and national issues, no? So just some basics, no? Paano ba magpatakbo ng isang social media campaign? Or paano ba magpatakbo ng isang social media operation? So just some basic tips, no, sa ating mga nagsisimula. So unang-una, alamin natin, nasaan ba sila? No? Nasa Facebook ba sila? Nasa X ba sila? Nasa LinkedIn ba sila? Kung titingnan natin ang LinkedIn, kung liligawan mo yung mga young professionals o yung mga working class, LinkedIn may be a good tool for you to start your social media campaigning, your messaging. So, andun lahat ng mga naghahanap ng trabaho, maaaring maganda rin kung meron kang employment advocacy, bakit hindi mo gamitin ng LinkedIn? Ang Facebook kasi very general na yan sa ngayon eh. Lahat halos may access sa Facebook, lahat may nakakapag-share sa Facebook, no? So, let's say for example, on a general level, maaaring tingnan mo yung Facebook, but on more specific and targeted messages, maybe you can look at LinkedIn. Maybe you can look at X. Maybe you can look at YouTube, for example. Nandun yung mga vloggers at yung mga social media influencers. So, paano mo ngayon gagamitin yung, let's say, meron ka ng sarili mong social media channel. Paano mo ngayon gagamitin yung different modes of social media be able to reach different audiences. So, importante yan sa isang basic social media campaign. Ito yung tinatawag naman nating authenticity na hinahanap ng ating mga botante sa ating mga kandidato. So the content that you will be generating or the message that you will be coming out, it has to be relatable and it has to be informative. Kaya nga yung iba, hirap na mag-come out ng kanilang mga images sa pamamagitan ng mga social videos na talagang lumalapit sila sa ating mga kababayan na kapuspala, namimigay sila ng mga kung ano-ano. Importante pa rin yung authenticity. Una, bagay ba dun sa kandidato yung ginagawa niya? Baka mamaya, pumupunta sa baba, kumpleto ng alahas, napaka-signature dun damit, tapos namimigay ng mga kung ano-ano. So may conflict ngayon pagdating doon sa ginagawa at doon sa image na nabuo sa kanya ng campaign team. So dapat nag-a-align, nagma-match, no? And at the same time, informative din apat yung content. Hindi lang sabaw, hindi lang motherhood yung sineshare mong information, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga social media users kasi same as the voting the general voting population, mas naging ano na ngayon mas naging discerning na ang ating mga social media users pagdating sa pagsinsin at sa pagsala ng mga impormasyon, lalong-lalo na sa politika na nasi-share online. So, napatunayan din natin na ang social media is also a self-correcting agent or self-correcting tool. So kung nakikita nyo may mga nag-share ng fake news, it is all in social media, it is also through social media that these fake news are dispelled. No? At ginagawa din yan ng mga different social media organizations. And last but not the least, to create an engaging ecosystem. So ano yung sinasabi kong engaging ecosystem? Hindi lang ikaw yung nagsasalita, hindi lang ikaw yung nagpapabida. Kailangan meron ding paraan para magkaroon ng interaction. Kasi ito hindi lamang naman to one-way street eh. Ibig ko sabihin, you position yourself as a candidate, you use social media as a tool, but at the end of the day, your objective is to gain votes. Gain votes and gain support at the same time para mas lalo mong mapalawak yung iyong influence. So, papaano mo mas mapapalawak yung influence mo kung one-way street lang siya? Ikaw lang ikaw yung nagsasalita. It can also be a good sourcing tool. Let's say, for example, sa iyong mga supporters, ano ba yung nararamdaman nilang mga kinakailangan mo pang gawin sa social media or in your campaign in general para mas lalo mo pang mapalawak yung mensahe mo. Maaaring you're preaching to the choir, so to speak. Kayo mismo, kayo dun sa grupo, nagkakaintindihan kayo, pero hindi nyo napapalawak yung tinatawag ninyong base na enough para makakuha kayo ng boto manalo sa isang halalan. So in general, when you run a social media campaign, it's very important that you have an understanding of what you need to do in terms of social media, no? So in each and every election naman, mayroong mga nangyayaring trends, no? Sa maaaring ang social media ay nagkakaroon ng impact, direct impact sa resulta ng isang election, maaaring hindi ganoon significant. There were a couple of studies, I think back in 2019, sinasabi nila na hindi ganoong malakas yung impact ng social media pagdating sa result ng election. But in 2022, they were saying that it had an impact. So maraming mga pag-aaral na ginagawa ngayon to measure the impact of social media. But nonetheless, social media is going to be very important in future elections. So you need to have a social media strategy. Kung ikaw ay tatakbo o ikaw bilang isang kandidato, bilang isang party list, importante magkaroon ka ng isang strategiya. Nabanggit natin yung iba-ibang mga pamamaraan or different ways on how you can take on your social media strategy. Palawa, yung social media content mo, ano ba yung gusto mong sabihin? Ano ba yung gusto mong gawin using social media? Is it to spread the message? To spread good propaganda? Is it to organize a campaign using social media? So mahalagang maintindihan mo ano ba yung gamit mo sa social media. Importante yung engagement. As I said, it shouldn't be just a one-way street, and you should not just be preaching to the choir. So ibig sabihin dapat mas maraming mga taong nai-involve, mas nakakapag-organize ka ng campaigns using your social media channels, no? And most importantly, at the end of the day, you need to have a measurement, no? Yung after a certain time, is your social media strategy, content and engagement forms successful? Kung hindi, you need to recalibrate. Maaaring kailangan mong i-adjust yung iyong social media strategy. Yung balance between Facebook content versus LinkedIn content, baka kailangan mong i-tilt. Let's say, for example, if you're targeting young professionals, baka kailangan mong i-tilt towards more content on LinkedIn than on Facebook. Importante yung measurement, importante yung analytics for you to be able to recalibrate your campaign strategy and ma-reach mo yung goal mo, which is basically to be elected. So these are part and parcel of the services that our group, the political, economic, elemental researchers and strategists can offer. So after this session, we are more than welcome. We are more than happy to conduct some consultations with you and to find out where you are and how we can help in social media and how we can help your campaign in general. So maraming salamat po at magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Pierre Aaron. Mastering social media really is no longer an option. It is the key to driving your campaign success. So let us move on to our third speaker. Pierre Dr. Tony Avila is our lead development and fiscal expert, recognized here and abroad in the field of public finance and development economics. He has worked on various development projects, working closely with key decision makers or political leaders. Let's welcome Dr. Tony, who will talk about governance, platforms, and candidate priorities. Plataporma ng pamahalaan, mga prioridad ng kandidato para sa tunay na pagbabago. Doc Tony, you may now take the floor.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Doc Chin, and good morning sa lahat ng ating mga registered participants. And of course, good morning din sa mga viewers natin sa FB Live. Kaysa nabanggit ni Pierre Aaron kanina na isa sa mga critical na issues, isa mga critical issues ang dapat na tinatalakay ang dinidiscuss ng bawat kandidato. Now, bago ko i-discuss yung mga iba't ibang critical issues, ay meron lang akong konting kabyat. No? Unang-una po, ay kung ikaw ay kumakandidato sa local na position, kailangan pong i-localize mo. Okay? I-localize mo itong mga aking i-discuss. Ibig sabihin, depende po sa sitwasyon ng inyong community. Kung kaya't kailangan po nating tignan, pero ito ay gawin lang po na isang guide, no? Pagdating doon sa pagtalakay ng mga issues. Unang-una po ay kailangan ho nating malaman ang iba-ibang issues. Ang isa kasi sa mga number one na issue natin ay yung poverty alleviation. Marami po ang mga mahirap at lalong dumadami po according to SWS survey na lalong mas marami po ang naghihirap. No, kung kaya't kailangan ho nating i-address ang poverty alleviation. At of course, marami din na dito ay may mga iba-ibang programa ng ating gobyerno. So kailangan lang ho natin ng long-term solutions, no? Like tulad ng expansion ng social protection program. Ito maaring pwede niyong i-recommenda yung mga talagang naghihirap at kailangan ng tulong ng gobyerno. At itong pangalawa naman ay tungkol ito sa skills development and entrepreneurship program. No? Ito lalo na kahit nasa local po, kailangan din ho nating pag-isipan kung paano natin matulungan yung ating mga constituents na para makakuha ng hanap buhay sa pamamagitan ng negosyo. At lalo na po pagdating dito sa rural areas, kailangan po natin tulungan yung ating mga farmers at saka yung ating mga kailangan ng mga agricultural and rural development at kailangan ho natin silang tulungan sa paano lumago yung kanilang income. Pangalawa pong critical na issue ay tungkol sa kalusugan. No, ito po ay may kasabihan po tayo dito na health is wealth, no? Kung malusog ka, it's para kang malaking kayamanan yon para sa atin. Ano ba yung kailangan natin ngayon? Again, I would like to remind kung ikaw ay local na kandidato, kailangan i-localize mo again yung tungkol dito sa healthcare, no? Kaya kailangan ho natin maintindihan kung ano yung mga kailangan ng ating mga constituents doon sa inyong community, no? Marami bang barangay health workers o kailangan ba ng doktor? Minsan ang isa sa mga key issues diyan walang doktor, walang maasikaso kung kailangan ho nating pagtuunan at bigyan ng solusyon para dito. Ngayon, isa sa mga natin, dapat ho natin bilang kandidato, kailangan ho ninyong malaman kung ano po yung universal health care. No? Ano ba ang maitutulong nitong mga universal health care, yun sa PhilHealth benefits, etc. Para kapag lumapit po sa inyo ang inyong mga constituents na nangangailangan sa kalusugan, then at least pwede nyo sabihin matulungan nyo sila at lalo na pwede nyo silang sabihin na pwede kayo mag-avail dito sa PhilHealth, etc. No? Mga ganon. Ngayon, isa sa mga kailangan ho natin gawin sa ngayon ay yung tinatawag na gagamitin natin yung ating information technology, no? Sa pamamagitan ng telemedicine and digital health workers. Ito po ay napakahalaga lalo na po sa mga rural areas, no? Na minsan kailangan na nila ng tulong tungkol dito pero kailangan lang nila cellphone, kung meron silang cellphone nakakaano sila kahit malayo sila ay pwedeng matugunan ng isang healthcare worker kung ano man yung problema doon kahit na napakalayo na sa lugar o sa sentro o sa poblasyon. At saka yung importante ho dito sa mga healthcare ay yung preventive, no? Ibig sabihin kailangan healthy yung ating constituents at pwede ho nating gawin isang advocacy para sa ganon ay mas maganda ang kanilang kalusugan. Ang isang susunod po ay tungkol sa edukasyon. Ito po ay kailangan ho nating gawan ng paraan para masolusyonan ito. Alam natin na lalo na nung panahon ng pandemic ay nagkakaroon ng problema, lalo na yung sa pag-access sa mga digital, no? Pag-access sa mga Zoom, etc. or online platforms, medyo magkakaroon ng problema lalo na po sa rural areas. Kung kailangan ho natin, siguro isa sa mga isa sa mga kailangang gawin would be the increased education sa budget. Alam po niya kung ikaw ay tumatakbo bilang isang local official, meron pong mga tinatawag na special education fund, no? Na pwedeng masabi natin na kailangang magiging aktibo ka dito para merong ma-increase at na matugunan yung mga kinakailangan doon sa inyong particular na community. At saka siguro kailangan din natin na mag-advocate tungkol dito sa digital learning infrastructure. No? Kailangan natin mga eskwelahan, kailangan siguro yung mga blended learning, no? So pwede para sa ganun kung halimbawa po ay bagyo, no? O kaya hindi naman masyadong malakas ang bagyo pero kailangan ano na yung sa online o kaya kahit halimbawa malakas ang ulan pero may signal naman, so pwede nang blended, no? Pwede nang online muna, wag mo nang pumasok, wag mo nang face to face. Kaya doon magsi-switch ka agad, no? Kailangan nating pagtuunan din yung ng ganong ganong methods, no? And then of course yung tungkol po dito sa technical vocational education at saka mga training. Kung ikaw ay tumatakbo sa lokal na posisyon, kailangan ho ninyong malaman ano ba ang pwede ninyong sabihin o advice sa mga constituents niyo na nangailangan ng trabaho at kung ano ang kailangang skills nila. So pwede dito sa TESDA, etc. Marami po kung kahit na online, pwede na ho sa TESDA training at saka iba-ibang na pwede niyong matugunan para sa pangailangan ng inyong constituents. Dan isa sa mga critical po sa tingin ko, ito pinaka-importante po sa lahat dahil ito yung tinatawag na job creation. Kailangan hong may hanap buhay. Of course, job means kailangan mo lang ng ma-employ pero hindi naman ho nangangailangan na kailangan sa magiging empleyado ka, no? So kailangan din pwede rin magiging isang maliit na negosyante o tinatawag na MSMEs, no? So kaya pwede ninyong pagtuunan din at matulungan ng yung mga maliliit na negosyante tungkol dito. At isa sa mga kailangan siguro ninyong i-advocate dito ay i-encourage po ninyo yung private sector doon sa inyong community o sa inyong lugar to participate para sa ganun ay magkaroon ng either sa employment or pwede rin sa pagtulong nila sa negosyo. Lalong tinatawag natin kung halimbawa yung big brother, small brother na tulong, mga ganon, di ba? Yung mga malalaking kumpanya, pwede nilang tulungan yung mga maliliit na companies. So pwede rin din gawin yon. Tsaka sa labor market, again, sa labor market, i-strengthen talaga natin yung mga qualification at saka kung ano yung mga key, yung mga kailangan ng policies para malaman natin kung ano yung mga kailangan mga qualifications para makapasok sa labor market ang inyong mga constituents. At of course, isa po sana sa pakiusap ko sa inyo kung kayo ay kandidato, bigyan po ng mas matinding pansin ang mga kababaihan at sa inyong mga persons with disabilities, no? Kailangan din ho nila para sa ganun ay makapaghanap buhay din sila. Then isa sa mga napakatindi na hinaharap po natin ay tungkol sa climate change. Kaya maaring sabihin natin na ito sa national, no? National karamihan ng mga ano. Pero kailangan ho nating malaman na kung depende sa sitwasyon ninyo, lalo na yung kung ang lugar ninyo ay nasa sa mga areas na madaling bahain or madalas na tinatahak ng bagyo o binibisita ng bagyo, din kailangan ho na din natin pag-isipan. May tinatawag natin na adaptation or mitigation measures na dapat nating paghandaan o pagplanuhan para sa ganon ay kung dumarating man yung bagyo ay nakakapaghanda na yung ating mga constituents. So kailangan ho nating of course kailangan din nating educate yung ating mga constituents tungkol diyan. At siguro isa sa mga kailangan ho natin dito na dapat malaman ng ating constituents na napakahalaga po ang dapat na mga measures sa transition natin pagdating sa climate change. Alam ho natin, lalo na dito sa Metro Manila or sa other areas, na konting ulan lang binabaha na. No? So, kaya kailangan ho nating i-adapt kung ano man ang kailangan gawin para sa ganon ay ma-address tong mga tungkol sa baha, tong mga other disasters. No? At saka yung pagtapo ng renewable energy, actually kahit po sa local government, kailangan ho nating kailangan din natin kailangan dito ang mga local government na sila ang gagawa. Kung hindi man kailangan ginagawa ng national, kayo na sa local government ang pwedeng gumawa. Ito tungkol dito sa renewable energy, no? Ang reliance halimbawa sa solar, sa hydropower. Pero isa sa mga kailangan ho natin dito ay tungkol dito sa solar power, no? Kahit na siguro pagdating doon sa munisipyo natin, maglagay na lang tayo ng mga solar power, no? Mga solar system. Pwede naman daw para sa ganun makakatipid din ng kuryente yon, no? Sa ganun ay makakatipid din pwede nating gastusin sa ibang projects and programs. Isa sa mga at saka yung tungkol din sa mga reforestation, no? Kailangan siguro bantayan, lalo na kung ikaw ay nasa local, kailangan bantayan mo, lalo na kung anong mga projects ito ng mga national, kailangan bantayan ninyo. Ano bang ginagawa nila to sa reforestation? Tree planting ng tree planting, wala namang nangyayaring tree planting, wala pa namang ganon. So mga ganon, kailangan tignan din nyo talaga. Ano ba yung nagsasayang lang ba ng pera itong mga national government agencies na to? Bakit kailangan dami-dami ng tree planting dito, wala pa rin tumatayo na trees, no? So mga ganon. And then of course yung tinatawag na circular economy. I think yung mga pag-localized, I think isa sa mga dito ay i-discuss ng karamihan dito ni Pierre Raul tungkol dito sa mga circular economies. Then, the last na issue na pinakamalaki po ang kailangan natin ay tungkol sa peace, security, and rule of law. No? Of course, ang isa sa mga problema talaga na kailangan natin ay kailangan malaman natin tungkol dito sa mga crime, no? Sa mga insurgency at saka lalo na po yung corruption. These are all these problems undermine national development effort. And of course, ang isa sa mga issue ngayon ay the lack of transparency and weak law enforcement which have already eroded the public trust in the justice system. Kung kaya dito po ay kailangan natin i-strengthen ang law enforcement at saka kailangan natin dito ang reforma and modernize also yung law enforcement, no? Siguro isa sa mga kung ikaw ay nasa local, kailangan din natin tulungan yung mga pulis. Siguro kung bibisitahin mo yung siguro yung opisina ng PNP, baka wala pa silang computer, no? O wala silang printer, etc. Pwede mo din tulungan kahit papaano ay mas madali yung kanilang trabaho. At saka yung ang isa sa mga kailangan ho natin dito ay yung community-based policing and peace building, no? Kayo po kung nasa local ay kayo po ang nakakaalam kung anong sitwasyon diyan in order to prevent crime from happening and of course peace building initiatives lalo na po sa mga conflicted areas na i-address kung ano yung mga root causes ng insurgency, and of course to promote dialogues between conflicting groups. And then of course may isa sa mga kailangan natin ay implement ang robust o napakatindi na anti-corruption mechanisms, at ang isa sa mga measures dito na kailangan natin ay transparency, lalo na po pagdating sa procurement processes, no? Tsaka yung mandatory declaration, asset declaration ng mga public officials, at saka sa pagdating sa law enforcement naman, at saka corruption, at pwede rin natin kailangan proteksyonan yung mga whistleblowers, no? At saka siyempre yung mga independent bodies, kailangan i-monitor nila at investigate yung mga corruption cases. And of course, isa sa mga kailangan natin is awareness campaign. Educate natin ang public ang importance ng rule of law and the rights that will empower citizens to demand accountability and justice from their leaders. And before I end, I would like to state again and emphasize na pag ikaw ay tumatakbo sa local, you have all these things that I have discussed. You have to localize it depending on the situation sa inyong community. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga.
Thank you for that, Doc Tony. Platforms don't just win elections. They build the future when aligned with the people's priorities. And Doc Tony has outlined a number of issues that you can use and examine what is the realities, or what are the realities on the ground in your respective communities. Attorney Juvic would have been our next speaker, but unfortunately, he is not feeling well. However, our last and definitely not the least is our lead exponent in local development. We have Peer Raul Reyes. Peer Raul has been leading trend-setting development initiatives in the countryside, capitalizing on the latest buzzword, blue economy. Let us all welcome him, who will discuss with us, bilang dasal, dapat may alam sa lokal, local governance issues that local candidates should address. Peer Raul, you may now take the floor.
Good morning, Dr. Chinvet. Maraming salamat po, and Sir Tony, and Sir Aaron, and Prof. Ed. Thank you, and to all the listeners and viewers on this episode. Actually, yung sa akin, more on, ang title lang sa akin more reflective line siya Di lang dasal, dapat may alam sa local government issues. Ni Prof. Ed about knowing the terrain. It's about mastery. Yung sa voters naman at saka sa mga candidates, it's more on self-mastery. Dapat alam kung anong mayroon sila at saka alam din kung anong wala sila. Then, totoo rin yung sinabi ni Sir Aaron na talagang social media define ngayon ang election. Tama rin yung sinabi ni about ang mga local LGUs ngayon, nagkakanya-kanya sila ng plan because walang walang ecosystem approach na framework. So kung makikita natin yung issue ng blue economy and green economy, just the other day, isang malaking issue yan Kasi ang problema sa local government sa ground, hindi coherent yung mga plans nila Hindi future proof. Pag bago yung administration, bago rin yung plan. So it's more on linear. And the only way to harmonize, considering that the Philippines is an archipelagic country, dapat ma-harmonize natin yung green at saka yung blue. Blue covers the ocean or the waters, while the terrestrial covers the land. So kung makikita natin, Pag na-dovetail natin yung dalawa, so it's really an ecosystem approach sa circular economy. So the other day, I went to NEDA to submit the proposal on green and blue economy. Kasi ang problema, yung mga NGAs natin sa regional level, they are not in fellowship towards one big project or ecosystem approach. So dapat bigyan natin sila ng isang pinggan na magsasalo-salo sila na they will be mobilized to work together to effect a radical change in terms of development. So ginamit ko dito yung Department of Agriculture IF2C2 at saka yung 1DA. Mayroon silang 1DA pero wala naman silang strategy how to do it. Yung IF2C2 is farm and fishery consolidation and clustering. So pinapa-cluster namin yung farm kasi na-over-subdivide ng carp. So pag na-over-subdivide yung farm, hindi na siya viable for commercial farming. Wala na siyang opportunity for economic scale. Hindi na siya competitive. Hindi rin attractive sa investors. So the only way is to organize them to one cooperative, then engage them with investors. Yung sa dagat naman, kung makikita natin dito, yung Philippines nasa center ng marine biodiversity in the world. Very rich tayo. So it's time to transition from fish hunting to fish farming. So ang problema hindi yung pagbabago ng modality. Actually, binago lang yung ways. Fishing pa rin eh. So yan, well accepted yung proposal namin the other day. Inangkor din namin to dito ngayon sa DTI Creative Cities and Municipalities. Kasi ang problema sa ground, hindi lack of fund eh. Ang problema yung lack of creativity in terms of leveraging financing eh. Kasi ang local government unit, meron silang proprietary power to engage into business via PPP and P4, the public-private and people partnership. So by doing this blue and green economy, yung Department of Agriculture, DNR, DOST, DAR, then and other agencies, kasi ang blue economy, 17 sectors yan eh. Almost all agencies can engage eh. So magkakaroon na ngayon ng holistic na approach. So yun ang inuna namin ngayon. Well, in terms of local election, actually yung local, it's summation ng pag na-add mo yung local, it becomes a national thing eh. Kung makikita natin ngayon, what defines the country's journey, yung summation ng local election. Yung tama yung sabi ni Doc Chin na the future we deserve, nasa talaga eh, nasa atin eh. And we have to start it now. And it must start from us. And values ng leadership sa ground eh. We don't argue on values. Tayo sa lahat pero sa values hindi. Sa konteksto naman ng pagtakbo sa election sa local and national, para sa akin being locally grounded, sa local more on emotional attachment rather than intelligence ang inuuna eh. Local is more intimate, personal and relational. You fully know the candidate because it is parochial eh. By kaibigan, kamag-anak. Ang local more clannish siya eh, and close-knit groupings. Secondary lang kung may alam or may energy ang candidate eh. But with the advent of social media, medyo nag-iba na yung tatlong factor ang involved eh. Personal relation, medyo mayroong counting money, then social media, ang laban dito is about image building and enhancing eh. Naka-focus much sa image focused and fortified and nurture yung social media eh. Kung makikita natin na yung social media image, it might not be real, but it is everything sa in terms of campaign eh. Sa national level is the opposite. It's more delegated to local candidates yung machinery nila eh. Meaning it's more on image to be cascaded to the ground. it is more less on going to the ground, but more on social media image. So kung makikita natin, it's like a hook, line, and sinker yung approach. Kung ano yung nakikita sa social media, yun ang nakakaroon ng edge ngayon. Kasi human being is 95% visual. Optic tayo. Kung anong nakikita, doon ang judgment natin. Ang 5% doon, other senses na lang. Well, nakikita rin natin na na yung bulk ng expend ng candidates sa big data, the job of the political. Ang tinatawag natin dito, sila yung the law of the few, and they control the vital many. Pero sa election, yung vital many, we have the same vote with the vital many ang tawag doon, pero we have the same vote. Now with the mentioned phenomenon, nationally is on the strategy, like real-time demographic data.
I think Pierre Raul is having connection problems.
Yes, naka-freeze siya.
Oo. In the interest of time, perhaps we can proceed with the open forum. No, if there are questions for local elections, you can ask them, of course, and we'll have ample time for open forum. Or perhaps you're waiting for Doc Chin to open the floor. Anyone can raise their hands, I
Yeah.
suppose.
So, Prof, this morning we are being joined by a total of about. Thank you for staying, our participants inside Zoom. There are about 12 of us here.
Mhm.
We also have in YouTube and in Facebook. But we can now entertain questions or anything you would like to discuss with our speakers who are here right now. We have 6 guests, active guests.
Pero nagka-problema yung Sorry.
It's okay, Sir Raul. If you don't mind, we open the open forum now in the interest of time. But of course, we'll entertain more questions for local campaigns or local elections. Anyone from the participants?
You may raise your hand using the emoticon here, or you may type it down sa chat box if you are a bit shy. And we'll just read it for you. Parang ano naman, Prof. Kaninang yung first topic natin is very interesting. In a nutshell, no? Na nailagay ni Prof lahat yung basic things to consider And then that's the first one is know the lay of the land. True, it is really true that candidates should survey before anything else. They shouldn't venture blindly or just based on some hearsay. It is more efficient if they have the right data.
Mhm. Actually, there's a question from Facebook, I think, no? And the question perhaps is I don't know if you took it differently, no? Walang disagreement doon sa presentations, no? What Peer Aaron was emphasizing, of course, is the use of the social media and the reach of the social media. I wasn't contradicting that in saying that if you're running a campaign, usually kasi masyadong nagiging dependent sa social media. Ang sinasabi ko, dapat merong magandang combination yan. Hindi lang social media, dapat merong tunay na presence, no? Especially in the countryside, no? Lalo na if you're running for national election, whether party list or senator, of course, social media will get you numbers. Pero alam mo, kahit na maliliit yung boto sa countryside, pag pinagsama-sama mo, malaki yan, no? And you will be able to get you can get traction in the countryside if you know what is more significant, no? In the countryside. Uso pa din po sa probinsya yung habang namamalaan siya nakikinig ng drama, no? At tuwing umaga, meron pa ding inaabangang balita, no? Meron silang social media, fine, but as I was trying to explain in my presentation, medyo kulang pa din po yung infrastructure natin. May mga lugar pa din na madalas hindi 24/7 ang kuryente, ano? Kung kaya talagang kumbaga limited yung kanilang opportunity to engage social media. But the numbers have already been explained by Peer Aaron, no? So malaki ang bahagi ng social media. All we're saying is that it's best if it will be in combination with other campaign tools.
Siguro Prof, no, just to second on what you said, no. Depende din kasi yan sa tinatakbuhan ng mga kandidato natin, whether it's at the national at the local level, no.
Yes.
Sinasabi nila, no, sa pagdating sa national level, andyan yung factor ng retail voting, andyan din yung factor ng machinery. So part din ng machinery ngayon ng campaign organizations is having their own dedicated social media team. Yung mga mababait nating mga kababayan, ang tinatawag pa nga doon sa ibang mga social media team ay mga troll farms or ang mga troll army, so to speak. Matagal na yan, 2010 pa yan, may mga naririnig na tayong ganyan. So meron din naging pag-aaral as far as I remember in 2016 and then in 2019 pagdating naman sa impact ng ito naman yung negative ano ng social media, yung propaganda, false propaganda, and ano yung naging impact nung false propaganda in the 2016 and 2019 elections. Hindi na lang tayo magbabanggit ng mga certain personalities, no? Pero may naging pag-aaral yung isang De La Salle University research fellow, no? So makikita natin nagiging parte na ng naging mga parte na ng mga research and mga studies yung impact ng social media. Nagbabago-bago din kasi yung dynamic. So it will be interesting to find out this coming 2025 elections gaano ka-impactful yung social media and how social media handlers, how campaign organizations will make use of social media. But then again, I would like to sigunda ko na yung sinabi ni Prof. Ed na hindi rin natin pwedeng ibase yung whole campaign strategy natin sa social media dahil meron tayo mga tinatawag na ground operations pa rin. Andyan pa rin yung mga political operators, andyan pa rin dapat yung mga genuine campaign organizations at the grassroots level, lalong-lalo na having dedicated political officers at the barangay, at the local level, para mayroong sumisigunda doon sa mga ginagawang ano pa mang operations, pagdating social media man or traditional media.
Okay, any more? Baka may idagdag kayo, Sir Raul, Sir Tony, mga nahihiyang magtanong ng question ng ating mga participants. We made it a point to just give you a very quick presentation, each of us, so that we can entertain your questions. There's no such thing as wrong question. So kahit po anong question, kasi depende naman sa vantage point kung saan kayo, sa anong pinanggagalingan ng tanong, no? Kaya maaari po nating pag-usapan, no? Kung ano man yung sa tingin ninyo kailangan ng sagot o kailangan ng explanation.
Yes, Doc Tony?
Tanungin natin sila siguro, Sir Ed, yung mga nandito sa ating mga participants.
There
Lalo-
is a question here, Doc Tony and Prof. Ed,
Ah.
from Sir Paulo Rodriguez. How to countermeasure smear campaigns, especially last-minute campaign na, kapag last-minute campaign na?
Actually, to my mind, if you're going to ask me, no, from experience, yung smear campaign is more of an opportunity. The fact that they
Yes.
are conducting a negative campaign against you means you are gaining traction. That means you have the numbers, no?
Yeah.
And in fact, you don't have to create an opportunity to engage the public kasi meron kumbaga sa open forum, hindi mo na kailangan mag-imbento kung anong i-discuss mo kasi may nagtanong no? So sagutin mo ngayon yung smear campaign na yan. Now, alimbawa, sinabihan ka na babaero ka, no? Marami kang ganito and so on and so forth. Because the answer there is rather simple, no? Ilan ba sa mga naging leader natin yung hindi naging nagka-problema o nagkaroon ng ganyang issue? Ay alam po ninyo sa politika at sa paggugobyerno, hindi naman tayo naghahanap ng mga santo. Hindi naman tayo naghahanap ng mga anghel, no? So ang hinahanap po natin dito, manager, yung may experience and so on and so forth. In other words, it's a matter of showing capacity. Kung mapapakita mo na ikaw ay may kapasidad, mas marunong ka, mas nag-iisip ka, mas organisado ka, baliwala po yung ganyang smear campaign. Medyo ibang usapan na po kapag sinabing mamamatay tao ka at may ebidensya na ilalabas laban sa iyo. Ibang usapan po yun. No, yung pong illegal gambling na maaring iparatang sa inyo, at the end of the day, it's sabi nga ni Sir Raul kanina, it's a perception game. Ang politika ganyan naman po no? So kung merong smear campaign, see it more as an opportunity for you to engage. Para sa akin, papasalamatan ko pa yung nag-i-smear sa akin kasi meron akong rason to engage the public. Last minute campaign, yung last minute, it's a sign of desperation, to be honest with you, no? So mas madaling i-dispatch siya yung last minute campaign. Alam po ninyo sa local, I will be candid with you, no? Madalas kasi kapag local bigyan ko kayo ng example, lalo na dito sa NCR, no? Merong isang tumakbo ng 2022 for representative in Congress. Ay gumastos ng 150 milyong piso. Pero natalo pa din. Ang mensahe po nitong example na to hindi porke ikaw maraming bala at maraming pera, ibig sabihin mananalo ka na. At hindi din ibig sabihin na marunong kang mamili ng boto at malaki yung ibinibigay mong tawag dito, malaki yung binibigay mo sa bawat botante, mananalo ka. Hindi po ganoon. Marami pong example. Even sa mga probinsya na malalaki ang bigayan, marami na kaming nakita na ang laki ng diferensya. Meron yung isang hindi ko na babanggitin yung bayan, pero nasa Bicol region, no? na ang naging bigayan ng kalaban ay nasa 1,500. Ang binigay niya ay 200 piso sa bawat botante. Pero nanalo pa din ng napakaki, 17,000 ang difference. So kaya yun po yung kinikwento namin sa inyo na dapat kumbaga yung pong kampanya kasi mekanismo yan eh. It has to be choreographed. Kumbaga po sa pagluluto, maraming ingredients, no? So dapat kompleto ka ng ingredients, hindi lang iisa. So yun po ang masasagot ko sa inyo.
There's another question from the chat
Actually,
box.
Prof. Ed.
Okay, Sir Raul. You have a retort? May dagdag po kayo?
Actually, Prof. Ed, yung yan ang role ng kasi ang campaign kasi malakas ang shifting yan in game eh. Depende sa narrative eh. Kasi if you have a strong narrative, counter narrative doon sa smear campaign, advantage yan eh. Pero trabaho yan ng tactician sa strategist. Dapat may tactician ka strategist to confront ng ganong smear campaign eh.
Siguro, pwede ko rin bang dagdagan yun, Doc Chin. Yung maganda yung sinabi ni Prof. Ed eh. Now, the best, sa akin na personal kung is the best way to counter yung smear campaign is a positive way of doing it.
Yeah. That's
Kung kung halimbawa yung example ni Prof. Ed na sa may bigyan na issue, ang dami mong chicks o whatever it is, mga ganun. Then you show to them na with you are going to campaign with your wife, with your children, kasama-sama kayo. Then of course you have to, that was the best way to counter it. No? Kasama mo yung wife mo sa entablado, of course you let her also talk in front of the audience, no? Parang ganun. So that I mean that I think the best way to counter that, and it is because a positive way of doing it. Salamat. Thank you, Doc Kim.
Okay, thank
Tingin ko lang,
you.
no? Doc Chin, isa lang.
Oh,
Habol lang ako. Sinabi
sure.
kasi ni Prof. Ed, di ba? Parang yung isa, kunyari, isa daw eh, babaero ka daw. Kung sasagutin ko na lang, I mean, in the same manner that every candidate should be prepared for the worst issues to be thrown at them. Lahat talaga eh, ibabato sa'yo, lalo na kung hinahabol eh. O, tatanungin ako, babaero ka? Hindi, kababae ako. Malapit ang puso ko sa mga kababaihan. Kaya ganyan, nangyayari yung ganyan dahil open ako kung ano man yung mga issue ng mga kababayan, naiintindihan ko. Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun, babaero ako. Pero makababae ako. I'd answer that way. So yun, sample lang.
Okay. So,
Pasensya
to
Sample,
our
madalas
Opo.
yung issue na yan eh. But anyway, the Doc Chin, sorry.
Sorry. We are encouraging our participants to open your cam so that we can openly
Yeah.
engage, no?
Yes.
And by raising your hand, you may ask directly, hindi po bawal, not just writing on the chat box. But there's another question. If there's no more retort regarding the smear campaign, there's a question here by Joey. Sir Joey is saying that what's the edge of younger politicians or aspirants, political aspirants, compared to the older and experienced ones?
Siguro mas maganda sumagot dyan si Sir Tony o kaya si Sir Raul. Kasi ako, neither here nor there pa eh. May-
Yeah, actually advantage yung yung bago. If you look at the terrain today, nagbabatuhan. Yung dalawang nagbabatuhan sumasama eh. Kasi kung makikita mo ngayon, if you look at the situation, yung bago may pag-asa eh. Pero yung nangyayari yung luma parang ganun pa rin eh.
Siguro
Nagbatuhan na yung dalawa eh.
yeah, ang isa siguro na may contribute ko diyan sa tanong na yan ay ganito. If you're going to look at the statistics, karamihan po ng mga voters ay mga bata, mga younger generations po yan eh. At nakikita ko po dito sa amin sa Valenzuela na yung mga young candidates, sila yung nananalo na kasi if you cater to the issues ng mga younger generations, ng millennials, etc., no? So that's how you're going to approach, no, yung mga younger generations. And if you are able to mobilize, no, if you're able to mobilize lahat ng mga young generations na yan, sigurado mananalo ka na eh, mga ganun eh. So just be sure na kung ano man yung kanilang mga issues, you have to listen to them. And kung may kalaban na mga misma edad na experience na, then just ignore them. Just concentrate on providing for the issues at addressing all the issues of the younger generation. They have the numbers.
Okay.
Siguro
Anything to add?
siguro ganito, no, a different take. If you're an older candidate naman, ano, it's not just a question of age. At the end of the day, it's a question how you are going to use your own background, your own capacity as an advantage. Kasi ako sa experience ko, mas marami akong kaibigan na much older sa akin kasi I learn so much from them. And so, in other words, it's not just hindi lang kasabihan na mas maraming alam yung mas nakatatanda. It's always a question of capacity, no? And yung capacity kasi dalawa yan, no? Yung strength and yung knowledge. Ang problema syempre, the older you are, usually yung strength yung kulang, no? Yung wherewithal. But if you will be able to show that it's not an issue in your case, no? That should be an advantage. Ang setback naman na kailangan mong tingnan, yung sinabi ni Sir Raul kanina, if you have been part of the political equation for quite a while, o sa madalit sabi, kasama ka na sa matagal ng political differences, mahihirapan. Ang number one mong concern is how you can free yourself from this division, no? Kumbaga paano mo ma-recreate yung sarili mo na ikaw ay alternative candidate. Kasi yung bago, no, kaya nga po yung titulo ng ating seminar bago ka ba? Kasi maraming nagke-claim na bago, no? Pero baka bago lang yung t-shirt nila, no? So pero kung mapapakita mo na bago ka talaga, may mga bago kang ideya, may mga bago kang kakayanan, mas maganda po yun. So yun lang po yung pwede nating masabi. And of course, the tools will always be there, no? And we can definitely show you the tools. And again, if I may invite the participants to open your video para mas makapagkwentuhan tayo. Maganda po ito at kukonti lang tayo, no? At mas makakapagpuntahan tayo.
There's a question here, follow-up. Is this a follow-up? No. Another question from Sir Paulo. He's saying that, is it true that plenty of money cannot guarantee victory in election?
Kaka-explain ko lang po yan kanina, ulitin ko lang po, no? Marami pong example dyan. Personally, nakita ko po sa Bicol Region, no? Naglaban sa pagka-congressman, no? Yung isa nagpamigay ng 1,200 kada botante, yung isa nagbigay lang ng 200 kada botante. Nanalo pa din po yung nagbigay lang ng 200. So madalit sabi, hindi lang sa bigayan nakikita yon. Yung isang binigay kong example dito naman sa NCR, di ko nabanggitin kung saan mismo, gumastos ng kasi siyempre NCR ang expectation mo talagang mahal no? Pero talagang kumbaga malalim yung kakayanan ng kandidato, no? Gumastos siya di umano ng mahigit 150 milyong piso, pero talo pa din po. Kaya po yung mga sinasabi namin sa inyo, number one po yung strategy. Kasi kahit na meron kang resources, kung hindi mo alam kung paano at kailan gagamitin yung resources, hindi pa din po ganun ang magiging resulta na gusto ninyo. Ano? Marami pong paraan kung paano mapagkakasya yung kakayahan ninyo.
Any rejoinder
Yeah.
from the group?
Doc Tin, no? Segundahan ko lang din yung sinabi
Yeah.
ni Prof. Ed, no? Although, siguro, ang question kasi is it true that plenty of money cannot guarantee victory in an election? Cannot, no? But you also need to have money, no? May isa akong nakausap, no? Isang kaibigan, di ko na nababanggitin ko sino. Lumapit nung some years ago, sabi niya, pare, gusto kong tumakbo ng senador. Malaki yung social media following ko. Mga, tas sikat ako. Sikat ako sa social media. Marami akong followers. Kilalang kilala yung linya ko ngayon sa social media. Pero meron lang akong 5 million. Sabi ko, Sir, kung 5 million na yung pera mo, tatakbo ka sa national, baka mas maiging ilagay mo na lang yan. Tumakbo ka na lang ng konsehal siguro, vice mayor. Kasi yung 5 million mo, baka mag-advertise ka pa lang sa social media, kulang na yan. Diba? Yun lang din. I mean, sense of pragmatism din. Kung tatakbo ka, tinitingnan din ng ng mga tao yung kahandaan mo to run for public office, no? And then reality check, no? Kung kahit ano pa mang isipin natin, kailangan mo ng resources para tumakbo sa isang eleksyon. Ngayon, we can talk of tawag dito yung amount of money that needed. Hindi guarantee yung having a lot of money, but you need to also have your own resources, not just the financial resources, but also the capital resources. Human capital resources, you need to have a good team. So you need to invest in your campaign team. Yung talagang willing to work 24/7 for you para mag-isip kung ano ba yung mga campaign strategies na kailangan. So the money is not the end all and be all. It is only a tool for you to have a successful campaign.
Thank you, Sir Aaron. Any other
Well, in
joinder
addition,
before I move
actually
on?
may
Yeah.
nangyari dito sa sa Samar na na ang approach niya storytelling eh. Kasi yung narrative na storytelling hanggang at the end ng election naging movement siya. Kaya wala siyang nagastos eh. Kasi at the end of the day, parang istorya ang parang istorya ang approach niya eh. Hanggang sa end level, naging movement eh. So nanalo siya kahit walang pera. Kasi ang bottom line dito, the right use of money and the right use of energy. When to use and not to use eh. Kasi ang dalawa kasing approach eh, mayroong tactical approach at saka strategy approach eh. Pag medyo may harang ng yung moment mayroong problema, dapat tactical ang approach diyan. Pero in the long run, you have to have the strategy. Ang nangyari sa kanya, strategy ginawa niya eh. Nanalo siya as mayor.
Okay. So, depende nga talaga how resources are being used and the strategies employed. There's another question here by Rio Magpayo. Can we be enlightened? Why voters? So, kasi past tense na, ibig sabihin yung existing natin, no? Shows actors and media people than people with clear development agenda and solutions to prevailing issues. Nakikita natin to. And in fact, ngayon, during the filing, we are seeing a lot of actors and not just actors, but those who are sikat sa social media. Any any
Actually,
thoughts
yung
or insights?
Actually, yung development agenda, malaking bagay yan eh. Kasi yun ang yun ang talaga ang nagbibigay, lalo na kung malapit sa puso yung development agenda eh. Just like dito sa amin, may ginawa akong development plan na talagang yung magkalaban, ginagamit yung plan na yun eh. Magkalaban sila, we have the same development agenda eh. So malaking bagay yun eh.
So yeah.
Well, simulan natin doon sa basic na premise o basic na problema ng politika natin. Hindi na po natin pwedeng tawaging political system yung politika natin kasi walang sistema. Isa lang naman ang pamantayan ng politika natin yung imahe at yung tao mismo, yung political personality. Napako na po tayo doon eh. No, yun ang problema natin. Pero hindi yun nangangahulugan na puro artista lamang at sikat ang mananalo at sa totoo lang inaasahan ko magiging iba ang resulta nitong darating na halalan kasi masyado nang naging garapal eh. lalo na yung mga political dynasty. Dati pa isa-isa yung tumatakbo, maghahalin-hinan sila. Kumbaga sa pagbili sa tindahan, dati tingi-tingi lang ngayon wholesale na. Now, I can give you a number of good examples na mga tumakbong mga sikat na artista pero natalo, no? Katulad ni Cesar Montano, katulad nung sino ba to? Si Edu Manzano, tumakbong senador yan na tumakbo ding mayor yata, hindi, vice mayor pa yata o congressman sa Makati pero natalo, no? Ah, sino pa ba? Marami. In fact, even sa national level, kung ikaw ay comebacking senator, hindi ibig sabihin mananalo ka. Marami na po tayong nakitang ganyan. No? Merong isa na sumikat dahil sa kudeta, hindi na makabalik bilang senador. Kaya tumakbo na lamang na local ngayon. Ano? May mga nauna pa sa kanila na mga tumakbo dati katulad ni Ernie Maceda, Ernesto Maceda, kahit yata si ang tawag dito, Tanyada, no? May mga pagkakataon na hindi na sila nakabalik, no? Kahit sila ay may pangalan at sikat. Pangatlo po, hindi ibig sabihin hindi nag-iisip yung mga botante. Yun po yung ine-emphasize ko kanina. In fact, pag titingnan po natin yung mga naging resulta ng halalan, no, simula nung 1995, the first election under the 1987 Constitution, no, na 1989 pala, no, nagsimula na manalo yung mga nagkaroon ng pangalan dahil sa EDSA Revolution. Okay? Pagdating po ng 1995, doon nagsimulang maghalal ang mga botante ng mga artista kasi ang naging pag-aaral noon bumuboto kami ng mga abogado, ng mga ekonomista, ng mga professional, pero walang nangyayari. So, kumbaga, nag-eksperimento yung mga botante. Baka sakali dahil mababait sila at magagaling sila sa pelikula, baka sakaling maging magaling sila sa tunay na buhay, no, sa gobyerno. At ito, nakita po natin yung peak nito, of course, no, noong 1998 when Erap Estrada became the president himself. But after that, 2001 onwards, hindi na. Marami ng mga tumakbo kahit sa local, no, marami na pong hindi na balik at nanalo, no? Kahit na sila ay sikat, sila ay artista, kilalang periodista, no, or journalist na naririnig sa radyo and so on. Kahit yung mga sikat na mga athletes, no, si Robert Jaworski, sino pa yung isa na basketballista, hindi na nanalo ulit yung mga nung tumakbo sila. Ano? So, nagsimula pong bumoto ng mga nakilala naman sa mga kudeta, no? Kaya pumasok ito sila General Biazon, no, at iba pa, no? Meron lang ayaw kong banggitin ng pangalan, ano, kasi okay na 'yon. Pinipigilan ninyo yung tawa ninyo eh. Ang tawag dito, pagkatapos noon, nanalo na yung mga sikat na, kumbaga nagkaroon ng pangalan dahil sa negosyo. Ano? Kaya lang, ang nangyari naman dahil mga nanalo na sila, naging abuso naman. No? Sabay-sabay nang tumatakbo, pati mga anak at mga kung sino pa. Kaya po, sa tingin ko, at ito po ay ginawa naming pag-aaral sa peers, no, nung Hunyo, no, na ang mga botante po ay naghahanap ng mga alternatibong kandidato. Ang problema dahil wala po tayong mga tunay na political party, sa totoo medyo ang disadvantage and therefore the challenge to alternative candidates is how to get yourself noticed. Kasi paano kayo iboboto kung hindi po kayo nakikita, hindi kayo kilala? Pero hindi ibig sabihin wala kayong kakayahan. Kaya yun yung sinasabi ni Aaron kanina, no? Kung ikaw ay lalaban sa halalan, hindi naman ibig sabihin exactly wala kang gagastusin. Kailangan mo ding gumastos pero hindi ibig sabihin na marami kang panggastos, siguradong mananalo ka. Medyo ilagay lang natin dun sa lugar. So kumbaga sa pagkain kung pang budget meal ka, no? Kung fine dining ka, di pang fine dining ka. So kung tatakbo kang senador, medyo fine dining na yan, no? So hindi lang 5 milyon ang pinag-uusapan natin dyan. So yun po yung pwede naming sabihin dyan, no? Hindi nakangahulugan na porke ikaw sikat, mananalo ka. May tinitingnan ako ngayon dyan na si Raul, no? Maglalaban ulit si former Justice Ching Veloso at si Richard Gomez. No? So tingnan natin kung mas mananalo pa din yung sikat kaysa doon sa may alam.
Okay.
Ken,
The joinder. Yeah,
dadagdag
Doc Tony.
dadagdagan ko lang yung sinabi ni Prof. Ed na dahil sa dahil sa walang strong political party system natin, kung kahit ang ating politika ay based on personalities. So yung mga tao, ang usually dahil it is based on personality, kung sino yung sikat, kung sino yung magaling kumanta, kung sino magaling sumayaw, simple yun ang naiintindihan nagtagka na name recall ng mga tao, no? Lalo na kasi yung mga nasa laylayan nating mga kababayan na minsan ang tanging kaligayahan na lang nila ay ma-entertain no? Ano yun. So, yun kaya medyo lahat ng ganon na mga personalidad ay talagang nananalo. At lalo na po no yung mga nagpapaano na tumutulong sa mahirap, no? Yung mga nagkakaroon ng problema, nagkakaroon ng gusot, nagsosolve sila, mga ganon. Ito, yun ang talagang nag-ano sa ano ng mga tao. Yun lang.
Okay. Thank
Chin,
you.
one point.
Yes, one more.
Okay.
Sir Aaron.
Ihimayin natin yung tanong, why voters chose actors and media people, no? Kasi yung relatability aspect noong tinatawag nila sa pagdating sa eleksyon. Nakaka-relate kasi ang mga tao dito sa mga celebrities, lalo na if they play prominent roles, no? Katulad ng tagapagtanggol sila ng mahihirap, tagapagtanggol sila ng mga magsasaka. And minsan, yung mga tao hindi na nila na-distinguish, nabablur na yung lines between what is real and what is real, yung REEL, no? So nabablur yung lines between what is real and what is real, kung kaya iniisip nila na since itong mga celebrities na ito, they're playing that role, gagawin din nila yon in actual life, na sila mismo talaga, and yun din naman yung ginagawa nilang positioning ng tagapagtanggol sila ng mahihirap, tagapagtanggol sila ng mga magsasaka. Nagiging problema din no nung ibang tinatawag nito people with clear development agenda and solutions. Hindi rin na i-communicate ng maayos. Hindi rin na ipahayag na maayos, hindi na itatranslate yung mensahe sa pamamaraan na nalulunok o nadadigest ng ating mga kababayan yung magandang mensahe. Kaya sayang no, doon nga dito sa amin sa peers no, kung may mga nakikita kami mga capable candidates, no, dito kami pumapasok. Dito namin sila pwedeng matulungan. Paano ba natin may communicate yung iyong local and national issues into something na madaling nguyain, madaling maintindihan, at madaling maiprocess ng ating mga kababayan. Lastly, Rio, baka next election, itong tanong na ito mag-iba. Can we be enlightened why voters chose social media influencers and bloggers than people with clear development agenda? So panoorin din natin kung ano naman yung magiging trend ngayon sa mga susunod na susunod na halalan.
Okay. Thank you. There's so much more to tackle sana, no? But we are gipit sa time. Bago ka ba pagtakbo at papili ng tamang kandidato, your closing statements, our dear resource person. Starting maybe with, kasi kanina naputol siya, Sir Raul.
Well, actually, ang bottom line dito nasa atin ang choice from each one of us. If we want to have a radical change, we have to start from us. Kasi ang bottom line dito ngayon, nakikita natin, gusto natin ng pagbabago, tapos wala namang ginagawa. We cannot change by remaining what we are.
That's very true. Thank you, Sir Raul. How about peer Dr. Tony?
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Dr. Chin. As the 2025 elections approach, candidates must address these critical issues in their governance platforms. No? Voters seek leaders who provide clear, actionable solutions to poverty, healthcare, education, job creation, environmental sustainability, and security challenges. Implementing these recommendations will improve Filipinos' quality of life and promote inclusive and sustainable development. Candidates who can effectively present and commit to these priorities will demonstrate their readiness to lead the Philippines towards a brighter future. At the same time, voters will be empowered to choose leaders who offer tangible solutions to the country's most pressing concerns. Thank you, Dr. Chin.
Doc Tony, thank you very much. Pierre Aaron, your closing statements, please.
Ay, ayun, maraming salamat sa ating mga taga-subaybay ngayong umaga, no? Couple of years ago, sinabi ni Merrill Lynch na the world is 10 years old. And I continue to say this in all of my fora in business and in politics. Our world is 10 years older. Ano yung ibig sabihin nun? We have to be ahead of the curve. We cannot just be in the business of following trends. We have to be in the business of creating trends, creating value for our people, and most especially with us peers, no? We are in the business of creating, not just adding value. We are in the business of creating trends, creating innovations for our target clients, whoever that may it be politicians, may it be social civic leaders. And dito, this is just a fundamental step that we are taking towards reaching our goal, which is to be trendsetters in this business, to be trendsetters in this field. And hopefully natulungan namin kayo with our introductory presentations on digital campaigning, on local and national issue agenda building, and setting the primer for introducing you to the realm of elections. And we do hope itong mga pag-uusap na ito ay panimula pa lang. You could contact us through our website, through our YouTube channels, just for you to get a glimpse of what we have been discussing. And we are here to help you. We are here to support you. Peers will be at your service for all your political, economic, and business needs. Salamat po at magandang umaga.
Thank you, Pierre Aaron, and of course, Prof. Ed.
Una po magandang umaga sa inyo ulit at salamat sa pagdalo at pagsuporta sa peers. Sisigundahan ko ang mga sinabi ng aking mga kasama, lalong-lalo na ang tinuran ni Aaron, no, na nandito po kami 24/7. You feel free to message us through our Facebook, LinkedIn accounts, X, no, and even through our email. We will be very glad to respond to you immediately. Kung ang babanggitin ko lang, kung napansin po ninyo, karamihan ng ating mga napag-usapan ay systemic, no? System. Alam po ninyo kaya namin naisipan, no, na magsama-sama dito sa peers kasi talagang systemic po ang problema at napag-isipan nga namin walang tunay ng mga political party might as well band together, no, and offer to the public, no, an organization that can do not only what political parties should be doing, but also for institutions to be able to achieve their goals and achieve their objectives. And so that's why Peers is not just a political consulting firm, it's an economic development firm, and it's also a business development firm, and the whole 9 yards, so to speak. With your support, we should be able to accomplish more, no? Considering that, we are already in the phase of technological advancement that allows practically everyone to engage and practically everyone to coordinate and even collaborate. So here at Peers, we are not just thinking aloud or armchair activists or thinkers, no? We are individually, we have been doing what we have been saying should be done. And hopefully in the end, no, you will see that many of the issues that we face really require a significant reform, a significant systemic reform. At sana, sabi nga namin ni Sir Tony, ni Sir Raul, ni Doc Chin at Aaron, happens in our lifetime that real change happens. Kasi ito, we're already in a critical juncture, no? We're seeing, much brazen, no, mas makakapal na mga kandidato na akala nila porke pamipamilya ang ibinoboto, napako na tayo doon sa pamipamilya. At pagka po ito nangyari, para sa akin, no, I'm just an optimist person, no. Maganda pa din kasi kung hindi nag-perform itong mga kandidato na tumatakbo ng magkakapatid, doon natin siguro matututunan na, mas maganda kung babaguhin natin yung sistema, mas maganda kung papalitan na natin yung saligang batas. Kasi nandun po lahat ang problema natin. Maniwala po kayo sa tagal ng aming pag-aaral at pangangampanya, pag-advocate sa mga tunay na pagbabago. So sana po malaman natin kung sino talaga yung bago at sino talaga yung merong magagawa patungo sa tunay na pagbabago. Magandang umaga po.
Thank you very much, Prof. Ed, as always. Laging malaman yung mga statements mo. May I request all our participants to turn on their cameras. For posterity, let us take a photo. Ayan, good morning. Good morning. Mabuting nakikita natin yung mga mukha ninyo. Ayan po. Thank you very much. Okay, for our team, our technical team, sige po. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Second page, Enzo. 1, 2, 3. Smile lang po ng smile. Hindi natin alam anong page. Next page po. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.
We will post this to our page. Salamat po sa
Maraming salamat po sa inyo. So as we conclude today's webinar, by the way, it's about 209 days before the midterm election. I counted. As we conclude today's webinar, let us remember that informed choices empower our communities. It is time to transform our insights into action. Your vote, our vote, is our voice, and every voice counts in shaping the future of our nation. Together, let's choose candidates who genuinely embody our aspirations for a brighter tomorrow. A heartfelt thank you. Maraming salamat po. Daghang salamat to all our speakers and our participants joining us here in Zoom, in our FB Live, and our YouTube channel. We appreciate your engagement here at Peers at Town Hall. And don't miss our next episode next week. And let's continue this important conversation. Daghang salamat og maayong buntag kayong tanan. A blessed Sunday to all.